Good morning all of you. Today I am going to teach you second chapter of your history book. The name of this chapter is From Trade to Territory. In this chapter we will read about the Britisher and the East India Company, how they entered in India and established their power. As we all know, the Britisher entered in India, their main motto was to do the business from here, and after that they started to purchase the land and build their buildings, and they overpower on the most of the part of India. How it happened we will study in this chapter. Let us begin the chapter. From trade to territory, the company established power. Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal ruler, and he established control over a very large part of the territory that is now known as India. The part which is known as the India, it was under control of Aurangzeb. No other Mughal ruler became as powerful as Aurangzeb. After the death of Aurangzeb was died in 1707, and after his death many of the governors, subedars and the big jamidars, they started to assert their authorities. The Mughal governors, subedars and the jamidars, they were appointed by the kings and the company to collect the revenue, and after the death of Aurangzeb they started to coming forward that they want their own ownership, they want to become the king as they started their power. So it was not possible to control over the Delhi only. Just like nowadays also our politicians, they have appointed state government, district government, because it is not possible from Delhi only by the prime minister and the president to control over the full country. By the second half of the 18th century, however, a new power was emerging on the political horizon, the British. In second half of the 18th century, it means after the 1850, a new power is coming arise. It is known as the British. Did you know that the British originally came as a small trading company? They entered in India, they were the small persons, it means very few persons were there, and their main motto was to do the business from here. And after that, they started to purchase the land and to control over the India and the many of the parts. How then did they come to be the master of a vast empire? In this chapter we will read about their full story, how they entered in India and how they started to do the business and started to purchase the land part and collecting revenue authorities, how they have taken. After Aurangzeb there was no powerful Mughal ruler, but Mughal emperor continued to be symbolically important. It means after the Aurangzeb no other powerful Mughal ruler was there, but other Mughal rulers were there who were symbolically important. They got the importance. In fact, when a massive rebellion against British rule broke out, when many of the peoples they came forward and they broke the rule of the Britishers in 1857, Bahadur Shah Jafar was the natural ruler that time. It means after the death of the Bahadur Shah Jafar's father, he became the natural leader. He was not so much involved in this revolt, but he was the ruler of that time. And Bahadur Shah Jafar was forced to leave the kingdom. Britisher forced them to leave the kingdom, and his sons were shot in cold blood. His sons were killed in front of his eyes. East India Company comes east. Now in this paragraph we will read how the East India Company established. In 1600, the East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England. The Queen Elizabeth I, she was the Queen of the England, and the British East India Company, they have taken a charter. Charter means a rule of paper. So they asked that only the East India Company should have the right to do the business from the east part of India. They want their own ownership only. Only the single person will do the business from the east part of India. No other competitors will be here. This means that no other trading group in the England could compete. From the England nobody can come. And the Queen Elizabeth, she has signed on this paper. Okay, then England could not compete the East India Company, so they have no fear that no other competitor will come from the England. So they were free. They used to purchase the goods at the cheap rate and sell it on the dear. It means on the more profit they used to sell the material. The company did not have a fear of the competitors because they have the charter from the England. Nobody can come and they start their business here. So they have the single opportunity to do the business from East India part. Mercantile trading companies in those days made profit. Mercantile companies, it means those who have the single authority to do the business. This type of companies are known as the mercantile, and this time it was so much highlighted, and their main motto was to get the more profit from, because they have no competition. The Royal Charter, however, could not prevent from the European powers from entering the eastern markets. They have the charter that no other competitors will come from the England, but from the other country, that just like that Europe, from the Europe and Portugal and Dutch, from the other parts of the countries, they entered in India and they started their business. By the time first English ship called down the west coast of Africa, that time from the west coast of Africa, the first English ship, it came from the coast of Africa and round the Cape of the Good Hope and crossed the Indian Oceans. Their main motto was to get the more profit from there, because they also want to purchase the raw material. So they entered by the Cape Town route. And the Portugal had already established their presence in the western coast of India. As we know that from Portugal in 1498, Vasco da Gama, and he found the sea route. It means from Portugal already before 100 years the people were doing their business. They entered in India on the other route from the Calcutta and Goa, from Surat. The other countries are doing their business from the other part. Mercantile, already I explained, mercantile means the persons those who want the single opportunity to do the business, and their main motto was to purchase the goods on cheap rate and sell it on the high rate. The problem was that the companies were interested in buying the same things. All of the persons, those who entered from the other parts, from Portugal, Dutch, British, their main motto was to purchase the same thing: cotton, silk and spices. In spices, paper, clove, cardamom, cinnamon, these were the famous things, and it was in the great demand in India. So the competition amongst the European companies inevitably pushed up the prices. So many persons came from the Europe, and they all want to purchase the same items. If it happened, then what to do? They will raise the price. Then it became costlier. The competitions were there. The urge of the secure markets therefore led to fierce battles between the trading companies. And after that, what started? The other companies, the persons those who came from the different parts, they started to fight with each other. Sometimes they used to block their routes when the one company is taking off the ship to the part on their own country. So they used to block the road, and sometimes they used to sink their ship. They used to dip their sink into the sea. So they used to give the loss to the different persons. And trade was carried out by the arms, and trading posts were protest through for fortification. It means it reached up to the war. They give the losses in the businesses, and after that it became a war. This effort of fortify settlements and carry on profitable trade also led to intense conflict with local ruler, and after that it becomes a conflict. It means giving the differentiate between the local rulers also, because the East India Company first they used to do the business from India, and after that they started to construct their buildings and to purchase the land part. Then the local rulers also think that first they started their business, and after that they are becoming the ownership, that taking the ownership of the parts. It should not be happen. It is the loss for the local rulers also. and the company therefore found the difficulty to separate trade from politics. But the company is finding the difficulty to separate the trade from the politics, because they want to keep the material, the place also they need it. So they want to make the warehouses and the forts, so they cannot separate it from the politics. Let us see how this happened. East India Company begins trade in the Bengal. First they started their trade in the Bengal. The first company was established on the bank of the river Hooghly. Calcutta is situated nowadays in the bank of the river Hooghly. First company was established by the East India Company on the bank of Hooghly river. It was known as the East India Company. And as they established their company, they forced the merchants also to come and settle themselves nearby the company, so they need not face problem to do their business. The merchants will be living the nearby of the company, so they used to purchase the things from here, and they will not force a lot to do the business. By 1696, it begins building a fort around the settlement. In 1696, they construct a huge building around their factored settlements. 2 years later, it bribed Mughal to official into the giving the company jamidars right over the 3 villages. And after building that building, they asked the Mughal kings to give the authority of the jamidari also. It means they asked the Mughal that we are facing the loss in the businesses, so give us responsibility to collect the revenue from 3 villages. One of these was Calicut. One of them was the Calicut, which later grew into the city of Calcutta. Nowadays it is known as the Calcutta. So the British East India Company want that the Mughal emperor will give the authority to collect the revenue from Calcutta also. It also persuaded the Mughal emperor Aurangzeb to issue a farman granting the company the right to trade and duty free. And they have taken the company into their response, and the company has given them authority to collect the revenue also. They said, okay, you can do the business and you are duty free. It means you will not give us revenue. Farman, a royal order, is known as the farman. The company tried continuously to press for more concession. The company again and again tried to give the more concession and existing privileges. Aurangzeb, for instance, had granted only the company to right to trade and duty free. The Mughal emperor has given the authority to the company only, that they will do their business and no need to pay the revenue. But after that, what they started, the officers, those who were working in the company, they also said that we also will not give you revenue, we also should be the duty free. But the company refused to pay. But the company said, we will not give you concession. Only the companies became the duty free. The persons and the officials, those who are working in the company, they have to pay the revenue. Otherwise, if we will do the all persons to the duty free, how we will earn? How could the Nawab of Bengal, Murshid Qali Khan, after that Murshid Qali Khan became the Mughal emperor, and he protested. How trade led to battles and how it converted into the battles. Through the early 18th century, the conflict between the company and the Nawab of Bengal intensified. It means early 18th century, in starting of the early 18th century, the conflict, the differentiate between the company and the Nawabs also, they have started, because they are asking again and again to give the more concession and the more terms and conditions. So it became a conflict in between of the Nawabs and the company. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawab asserted their power and autonomy. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawab asserted their power, as the regional powers were doing at that time. Murshid Qali Khan was followed by the Alivardi Khan. After the Aurangzeb, Murshid Qali Khan became the Nawab, and after that Alivardi Khan, and after that Sirajud-Dowla, they became the Nawab, is the sequence. Each one of them was a strong ruler. Each one of them was the strong rulers. they refused to grant the company concession. They refused the company, we will not grant you any concession. Demand larger tribute to the company, and they asked that you are doing the high business from India, you are getting the lot of earning from there, so you have to give more revenue to us. The company right to trade denied it any right to mint coins, and they refused the company that you don't have any authority to do your business by your own coin. It means they refuse, you are not allowed to print your own coins, you cannot build your own coins, and stopped it to the extending its fortification, and you don't have authority to construct the forts and your buildings. Accusing the company of deceit, they claimed that the company was depriving the Bengal government, and the company refused to do that. Then the Bengal Nawab said that the company is not following our order, and they are depriving the Bengal government, and they asked the huge revenue to pay, and it was refusing to pay taxes. They said, and they refused to pay the taxes within disrespectful letter, and the company wrote a disrespectful letter in which they have written the miswords to the governments, and they humiliated the government, and they said we will not give you any revenue. And the Nawab officials, okay, the company on its part declared that the unjust demand of the local official were ruining and trade of the company. The company said that they are asking the unjust demand. It means whatever the revenue they are asking, it's unjust. If we will pay this much, then we cannot get profit, and trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. They said that we are getting lot of loss in our businesses. If we will give you revenue, then we cannot earn. So we should be allowed to do the business, to do the trade from here, and duty free. The revenue should not be taken from us. The company and the trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. It was also convinced that to expand trade, it had to enlarge its settlements, buy up villages, and rebuild its fort. And they asked that we should get the authority to purchase the land and to settle ourselves, and we need to keep the material, the warehouses and the forts. So we should allow for that also. Puppet, literally a toy that you can move with the strings. It is known as puppet. So the company want this kind of Mughal emperor who became the puppet of their hand. It means whatever the company said, the Mughal emperor will. So the company wants such kind of Nawabs who became the puppet of company's hand. Next topic of this chapter we will study in the next video. Bye bye. Have a